I feel like God has given me the gifts, every gift that I have, every blessing that I have. And I feel like he puts certain people in my life for a reason, certain angels, certain people protecting me, things that happen to everyone.
Okay, y'all. What's happening right now with Blue Ivy has the entire internet divided and people are losing their minds. Let me tell you, when Tokyo Toni started going off on Beyoncé about how she's handling Blue Ivy, the internet literally exploded. Let's just dive right into this mess because, whew, it's a lot. Blue Ivy Carter, yes, that Blue Ivy, has been performing alongside her mother Beyoncé on the Cowboy Carter tour. At first,
there's no way you cannot believe that someone isn't looking out for you. And he takes people out of my life that shouldn't be there. And I just feel protected all the time.
everyone was living for it. Baby girl was twirling, stomping, dancing, absolutely dominating that stage next to her legendary mama. The crowd was eating it up. The internet was gagging. But now, the narrative has completely shifted because one day you're that girl and the next, you're at the center of a massive parenting controversy with people questioning if you should even be on that stage at all. And who's leading this charge against Queen Bey?
You know, it was great that she was there with you and you took her up on stage. She's so grown though now. She is so grown.
Taller than me, I don't like it at all.
I mean,
So happy that she was here, and Rumi, who's on the album, my youngest daughter, she was watching. I forgot to thank her, so I get to thank her now. Thank you, Rumi.
None other than Tokyo Toni, who went completely off the rails in a live stream that has since gone viral across every platform. Let me tell you, she did not hold back, not even a little bit. Tokyo ripped into Beyoncé, claiming she's over her 13-year-old daughter for the world to see. And y'all, the things she said have the internet completely torn between defending Beyoncé and questioning if maybe, just maybe,
Well, we've been together since we were 9 years old.
Oh
so
my
now
God.
we're older and we each have our own individual dreams and goals, but we are best friends. We grew up together and we'll still support each other.
Tokyo might actually have a point beneath all that mess. So let's break this down piece by heated piece. Tokyo started by saying that with all of Beyoncé's billions, and yes, we're talking billions with a capital B, she could have Blue Ivy doing something more meaningful than dancing on stage with grown folks, wearing a full face of makeup and body rolling in front of thousands of strangers.
Really, I don't think about it too much. I'm just free. And I can express my sensuality, I can express my pain, vulnerability, my strength, all of those things.
She suggested mental health work, kids' charities, writing books. According to Tokyo, Beyoncé had the opportunity to position Blue as the voice of her generation. But instead, in Tokyo's own words, she's got that little girl up there looking like a nasty A. Yes, she actually said that about a child. And then Tokyo took it even further down a disturbing path. She warned that putting Blue in the spotlight like this,
I want to win an Oscar, and I want to win a Tony. And I know I'm 21, I have a long way to go, but it's great that so young I'm able to start.
at 13 years old, dressed the way she is, dancing the way she does, is setting her up to be viewed in a way that no child should ever be viewed. She even went so far as to say, and I'm quoting directly here, when a 17-year-old boy catches her around the corner trying to be a freak, y'all gonna be mad. Let that sink in for a second. Tokyo is directly blaming Beyoncé, one of the most protective mothers in the industry, for potentially putting Blue in situations where predators could take notice.
And I'm trying to make the right decisions. That's why I did this movie, because I thought it was something that could show my range as an actress, and I was able to mix singing with the acting, which is something that I really love.
The way she delivered this message, Wild doesn't even begin to cover it. But Tokyo wasn't just targeting Beyoncé. She dragged the entire culture of celebrity parents, putting their daughters on display. She claimed this is precisely why little girls end up being abused, because people don't see anything wrong with how they're being paraded around. She insisted there's nothing cute about a 13-year-old on stage doing grown woman moves.
Absolutely me. Once I saw Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson, I'm like, oh my God. The second I got on the stage, I just opened up and I became this whole other person on the stage, and I wanted to do it every day, all day.
Especially without other kids around her age performing too. And when she dropped the line, that little girl probably done everything with security guards. You could literally feel the internet collectively gasp. Now, is any of this fair? Is it factual? That's a completely different conversation. But Tokyo was just getting started. She even suggested that Blue Ivy might grow up to resent Beyoncé for taking away her childhood and pushing her into the spotlight before she even finished middle school.
It's very surreal, and it's been 25 years of just working really hard and trying my best to keep growing and keep opening up doors. So I'm just very honored, very honored.
Y'all, let that sink in. Tokyo warned that instead of giving Blue space to just be a normal kid, Beyoncé is fast-tracking her into the entertainment industry with all the pressure, danger, and public scrutiny that comes with it. Now, before we go any further, let's get one thing crystal clear. Tokyo Toni's delivery was harsh. A lot of people were uncomfortable with how she expressed herself. The profanity, the accusations, the aggressive tone. She was yelling, swearing, making some deeply disturbing insinuations, even throwing in that classic conspiracy theory about Beyoncé and Jay-Z being connected to Epstein Island. Girl, what? So let's be real. She lost a lot of credibility right there with many viewers. But here's where things get complicated. Does Tokyo, beneath all that mess, actually have a point worth considering? Because even die-hard members of the Bayhive are starting to wonder, is it appropriate to put Blue Ivy in these adult spaces at such a young age? Even with protection? Even with guidance? Some fans are saying absolutely not. They argue that having a 13-year-old dancing on stage in what they consider adult costumes in front of thousands of grown men and women could potentially make Blue a target for predators. No matter how innocent her intentions or how fierce her choreography is. One viewer even commented, "There's no way a 13-year-old should be moving like that on stage, especially with a full face of makeup and hair down to her hips. It's given grown woman." Another added, "We protect our sons. Why aren't we protecting our daughters? Let her be a kid." And yet, others are clapping back hard in Beyoncé's defense. Because let's not forget an important detail here. Beyoncé herself started performing professionally at 13. She was touring, singing, dancing, and managing an entire public image by the time most kids were still figuring out middle school drama. If anyone understands the dangers of early fame, it's Beyoncé. And fans are pointing out that if Blue genuinely wants to perform, there's literally no one better equipped to guide her through it than her mother. Beyoncé has the money, the security team, the wisdom, and the personal experience to shield Blue Ivy from the dark side of the industry better than virtually anyone else could. Period. End of discussion. And let's be completely honest. Have you seen Blue perform? This girl hasn't missed a single beat. She looks confident. She's smiling. She's moving like a natural-born star in the making. So who are we, or Tokyo Toni, to say she's being overexposed if she clearly loves being up there? Now, here's where the whole situation gets even messier. Tokyo wasn't just throwing shade. She was basically dousing the entire situation in gasoline and striking a match. After her main critique about Blue Ivy, she spiraled into a profanity-filled tirade about, well, everything and everyone. She was calling women dumb, broke, and traumatized, throwing in random attacks about welfare moms, fake supporters, and basically going off on the entire world. She even said, and this is disturbing, that she hoped certain people got hit in the head and thrown in the woods, bleeding. Chile. It got dark real quick. So it's absolutely no surprise that many viewers completely dismissed her original point about Blue Ivy, calling it projection, jealousy, or just straight up bitter energy from someone who's known for being controversial. But here's the thing that's making this conversation so complex. When it comes to protecting Black girls, especially those in the spotlight, emotions run extremely high, and with good reason. We've seen far too many young stars pushed into grown spaces too soon, only to later break down under the immense weight of that pressure. From Britney to Lindsay, from Raven to Aaliyah, the entertainment industry has historically not been kind to young girls forced to become women overnight. So the question remains, is Tokyo Toni just being messy and loud for attention? Or is she actually saying the quiet part out loud, just in the loudest, messiest way possible? That's the conversation happening right now across every social media platform. One tweet that's going viral reads, "Tokyo Toni is absolutely crazy, but she's not lying. Beyoncé knows exactly what kind of men are in those crowds." Another person replied, "Blue Ivy is not. She's performing with her mom. This is a family show, not a strip club. Y'all are the ones with sick minds." And yet another added, "What's worse? A 13-year-old dancing alongside her mother, or a grown woman judging a child like she's a grown one? Make it make sense." Whew, this is getting heated. Whether you agree with Tokyo Toni or not, one thing is crystal clear. This conversation is much bigger than just Blue Ivy. It's about parenting in the spotlight. It's about growing up famous. It's about setting boundaries. It's about protecting young Black girls as they develop. It's about that super blurry line between nurturing a child's talents and potentially putting them in situations they might not be ready to handle. And it's making everyone ask some really uncomfortable questions. Where exactly is the line between supporting your child's dreams and potentially pushing them into adult environments before they're emotionally prepared? Is there an age that's too young for certain types of performances? Or does it depend completely on the individual child? Does Beyoncé, who has carefully managed her own public image for decades, understand something about navigating fame that the rest of us simply don't? Is Blue Ivy's presence on stage actually concerning? Or are we the ones viewing a child's dancing through an inappropriate lens? These questions are complicated, and there are no simple answers. But one thing's for sure. This conversation has exposed some deep divisions in how we view childhood, fame, and parenting in today's social media age. Some people believe children should be completely protected from public attention until they're adults who can make their own informed decisions. Others believe that if a child shows natural talent and interest, holding them back from developing those gifts could actually be harmful in its own way. And then there's the cultural component that cannot be ignored. Young Black girls are often viewed as more mature than they actually are compared to their peers. They're treated as grown far earlier. Their appearances are inappropriately judged before they even understand what that means. Is that what's happening with Blue Ivy? Are people projecting adult intentions onto a child who's simply dancing? Or is there legitimate concern about the environment she's being placed in? The conversation is nuanced, and it deserves more than explosive rants or defensive dismissals from super fans. What's truly fascinating is how this has become about so much more than just Blue Ivy on stage. It's sparked a broader cultural conversation about how we protect children in the spotlight. Because let's be real, the entertainment industry has a terrible track record when it comes to child stars. From Michael Jackson to the Olsen twins, from Lindsay Lohan to Britney Spears, we've seen how early fame can lead to serious struggles later in life. But does that mean all young performers are destined for trauma? Absolutely not. Some former child stars like Raven-Symoné and Hilary Duff have navigated the transition to adulthood relatively smoothly. Others like Zendaya and Miley Cyrus have transformed their early fame into lasting, evolving careers. So what makes the difference? Most experts agree. It comes down to the adults in their lives, the boundaries that are set, the normalcy that's maintained behind the scenes, the education that continues regardless of their fame, and most importantly, whether these children feel they have a choice in their participation. Does Blue Ivy have that choice? Only Beyoncé and Jay-Z know for sure. But what we do know is that Beyoncé herself has spoken extensively about wanting to protect her children while also nurturing their talents. In her 2019 documentary, she specifically addressed the struggle of balancing motherhood with her career and how important it is to her that her children feel both supported and protected. So, is it fair to assume she's suddenly abandoned those principles with Blue Ivy? Or is it more likely that there are boundaries and conversations happening behind the scenes that we, as the public, simply aren't privy to? The truth is, we don't know. And maybe that's the point. We don't know what conversations happen in the Carter household. We don't know if Blue begged to be on stage or if she was reluctant. We don't know what limitations Beyoncé has set around her daughter's performance schedule or what check-ins she does with Blue about her comfort level. We simply don't know. But what we do know is that Blue Ivy is not the first 13-year-old to perform on a major stage, and she certainly won't be the last. The question is, what responsibility do we as viewers have in how we perceive her? Are we viewing her as a child, exploring her talents alongside her mother? Or are we projecting adult concepts onto a minor who's still developing her identity? And what responsibility does Beyoncé have to consider not just how she sees her daughter, but how the world might see her too? These are questions without easy answers, but they're questions worth asking, even if they make us uncomfortable. Even if they challenge our perceptions of celebrities we admire. Even if they force us to confront our own biases about childhood, performance, and what's appropriate at what age. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about taking sides between Tokyo Toni and Beyoncé. It's about a broader conversation around how we protect children in the public eye, while still allowing them to explore their talents and passions. It's about recognizing that there's a world of difference between a child who genuinely wants to perform and has proper support, and a child who's being pushed into the spotlight against their will. The problem is, from the outside looking in, it can be nearly impossible to tell the difference. So where do you stand in all of this?